On behalf of all Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield associates, I would like to say that we are truly humbled to be recognized by the MS Society Dinner of Champions. Our mission is to improve the lives of the people we serve and the health of our communities. And tonight's recognition is really a validation that we are fulfilling that mission. Throughout Virginia each year, we support health causes such as the MS Society Dinner of Champions in hopes that we can find cures to diseases that affect thousands of our members. Here in Central Virginia and throughout Virginia, we literally do have thousands of members who suffer with MS. Our nurses are on the phone with those members each and every day, helping them get the medical treatments that they need so that they can go about their normal lives, even though they suffer with MS. Two people who will be recognized who do have MS, who go about their lives, are Pat Basert and Judge Rocky Rockwell. Pat I've known since the day I started with Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield back in 1992.
I had my first symptoms back in 1998. I was at work, and at the time I worked as a telephonic review nurse for our medical management division. And I sat very close to a window, and I looked out the window and I saw two of everything. I got referred to a really excellent physician in Richmond who happened to have studied multiple sclerosis and done clinical trials and a lot of research. And he followed me until I was actually diagnosed. And I've been very fortunate. I've done very, very well. I started medicine very early. And I made a conscious decision that I needed to take care of myself. And I needed to work on my perspective and balance and attitude and how I was going to handle this, because back then I didn't know what my future would be like. It's not a condition like diabetes or cancer that's as common, so a lot of times it's just educating people on what multiple sclerosis is, and there's so many different types of multiple sclerosis. It affects so many of us in so many different ways because there's different manifestations of the types of MS. It's also a silent condition in many ways because a lot of the symptoms that many of us suffer from aren't visible on the outside. Figure out what your challenges are, develop strategies, figure out how to fit in wellness and exercise and nutrition and balance. Manage it, work through it, don't let it take over your life. Public awareness, there are tons of causes out there that we could all focus on, and so having Anthem be recognized as a fundraiser for an important organization is key to getting the message out, just reminding the community there are lots of chronic conditions that people all around us need help with. We have medical research that needs to be done, drug research that needs to be done, and you know, it doesn't have to be a large donation to make a difference. All of the pennies added together can end up being $1, and that could be the $1 that gets you to the next place. And, you know, sometimes you just got to pick your cause. So this is mine.
We're also recognizing Judge Rocky Rockwell for all that he does each and every day sitting on the bench in Chesterfield County. Judge Rockwell has suffered with MS for many years, but despite that, he has done a fantastic job sitting on the bench in my home county of Chesterfield.
And I finally decided to go to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, you have optic neuritis. Now, I knew what that was because one of my good friends, who we were prosecutors together when we were younger, was diagnosed with optic neuritis and MS, and he has MS, and so I sort of freaked when I heard that, you know, because my friend was in a wheelchair, my friend had retired, and he was a little bit younger than I was, so I thought, it's my future maybe, and it hasn't turned out that way. So. It's very frustrating because you don't have control of your body like you used to, and you think of yourself in one fashion, I've always been very active. You know, like I said, I used to hike, camp, play tennis, and all of a sudden I can't do those things. I renovated an old house and did that, a lot of the work myself. I can't do that anymore. My clerk, a wonderful lady, Miss Chitwood, came to me one morning and said, my sister's just been diagnosed with MS. And I said, well, Sheila, I have MS. I've had it for the last 8 years. And she said, no, you haven't. I said, yeah, I have. I have. It hasn't, remember when I went blind? That's 2 times? Yeah. And I said, I'm okay. She'll be okay too. And I would tell people, look at me. I don't look decrepit, I don't think. And I do have some limitations, but people are very kind. They recognize that, and they give you allowance for that. It's serendipitous, I think, in your life, who you meet and what you run into. And I met a person who, actually the person that gave me the dog, and she's quite a rider, and she said, I think this will be good for you. And it's shown that riding horses is good therapeutically. It's something, a person with MS can do. They may not be able to walk very far. And I started doing it. I love it. And I think I shared with you that 2 weeks ago, got on a horse, rode up 2.5 hours up in the mountains and rode back down. I couldn't walk that. And it was glorious. It was just absolutely glorious. Yeah, well, lots of people worse off than me. There's lots of people worse. I have a friend I told you about. He's in a wheelchair, and he's not, but he is the most resilient man I know. He's an inspiration for me. Every time I start thinking about whining a bit, I think of him, and I don't.
We're really here tonight to recognize those folks who have the disease, who go about their daily lives, like Pat Basert and Judge Rocky Rockwell. We're here to recognize them in hopes that one day we can find a cure for this disease, or at least find additional treatments that will make it easier for them to live their lives each and every day without suffering what can be debilitating effects from MS. So we're certainly humbled as a company to be recognized, but let's remember that we're really here to serve those who have MS.